Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Leora, this is Diamonds from the Rough, and this week we're going to be working on this gorgeous vanity I got right behind me for $125, 40% off of that, and I got it at Habitat for Humanity, and this thing is an absolute beauty. I can't wait to bring it back to its former glory, but we're going to go an entirely different direction than this very understated model from the 1930s-ish. I can't wait to jump into this piece, so let's get started.
Well, I'm stuck in bed post-surgery, so I guess you're going to get voiceover, which I hate doing, but I'm stuck, so I might as well. This thing is really in quite good shape. There's all the hardware for the mirror attachment. That was in that first drawer. I don't see a lot of things hanging off of it. The handles were, I think, all there, but I hate them, so it doesn't matter. Didn't notice that wrinkly piece of wood in the bottom when I first got it. I love the fact that the top was coming off because then I didn't feel any guilt about stripping it. Those casters were absolutely terrible, but I did love the little ball feet at the bottom, and I liked all the little design elements.
Truly, I think this thing is in really good shape as far as, things that I can easily fix. Here's the things that have got to go. This hardware is obviously not even on there very well, but it's very thin and flimsy, so I don't like that. I do love that the drawers are very solid. They do have some stains, not in this one, but the other one, and a little bit of wear and tear right there at the edges. Gonna have to build that up. Not a big deal. Oh, yes, the finish, clearly flaking off. That should be a breeze to sand, comparatively. I like these little details. It gives me a lot of different things to play with. This is not burl wood. Don't panic, it's going away, it's not real. And what else? Oh yeah, right here, the back is lifting. That nail is just, it's poking out the top and it's not holding this down anyway. So what I'm probably gonna do is disassemble it. Oh yeah, I've gotta get rid of these casters. They are wood and they have given up the ghost. They don't roll very well. All right, the mirror. I mean, yeah, I would have bought this little vanity by itself happily, but the fact that it came with this mirror is mind-boggling to me. I love this. Again, not real burl. That's just like paper that they put over there that has little wood print. Same here. This is not some fine wood grain, but it has all the pieces. It has all the flourishes, all these little bits and pieces are still there, and the glass is intact and it's in perfect condition. What? Yeah, this is a great find. The first thing I have to do is make this lighter because it is quite heavy to be moving around, and the wheels don't wheel. They are so, it's wood, so it's not like it's corroded, but it's like all chippy and they don't roll. These drawers are quite weighty. Next, I need to remove the hardware that I'm not going to keep. I always keep one little tub just for the hardware for each piece. This hardware, I do not like. I do not like it in a box. I do not like it with a box. There, look how thin and flimsy that is. It doesn't even sound like anything. Gotta label the back, right top. So I put them back the right way. Since this doesn't roll worth a darn, I'm gonna remove these old casters. They sound terrible too. Now this could be easy, or this could be hard. I've definitely seen it go both ways. Oh good, we're going with easy. Look how worn down they are. They just do not roll and they squeak terribly. So I'm not even gonna recycle those for anything. This is what I'm left with. They were evidently put in differently because see, they don't match. Okay. Kind of looks like that's it. So of course there's always one part that's actually still sturdy. What a shame when you need it to be broken down. This is actually a paint stirrer, but hey, anything can be a pry bar if it's strong enough. we go. And now this is done. I really think I just got into this because I like to break things and then put them back together. I never really knew that about myself until I started doing this furniture thing. Well, now this will be ever so much easier to sand down and clean. I can take it apart entirely, which I think is probably the smartest thing to do, again, for cleaning and adjusting. There we go. Easy peasy. It's going to be so much easier to work on the inside of this when it's just a separate piece. There we go. It came off in one piece. That's the great thing. And now I need to label these because they're separate. I have to make sure I label which one's the left and which one's the right. Should be obvious, but you never know once you get going on something. You don't want to put it in backwards. This center board, that's super loose, so I'm going to re-glue and screw that one in. Over here, we've got a little bit of damage to the veneer, but it's very minor. Super easy wood fill fix. But now I can easily work with all my pieces and parts. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of details about cleaning. If you watch these kind of videos, you've probably seen people clean, and it's pretty straightforward. I've got my spray bottle with water and a TSP cleaner. I've got my spray mister with plain water. I've got paper towels. I've got a cloth. I have a vacuum. I'm going to vacuum the inside, the underside, and I'm going to wash off the main dirt. I'm not going to get super scrubby because I am also going to scrape the finish off of pretty much everything or sand it off. I just want the top layer of grease or grime, so I don't grind that in, removed. We're just going to do that off camera. See you in a minute. A little bit of coffee, mask, and then I scrape. RZ mask with filtration. I'm not using a lot of pressure. Always go with the wood grain when you're scraping, and don't grab the edge and rip, because then you're going to lose your definition. So just got to be careful about that. This is the inside of the cabinet, so the knee hole. And this is where that little decorative piece was. And you can see that they just didn't even bother putting on as much stain. So down here, lots of stain, lots of top coat. Up here, maybe just a little bit of overspray. So that'll be easier to remove.
On all of the drawers, I used a light wood fill and then sanded down the edges.
I'm not a fan of this little honeycomb thing that's here. I can see that it's put on with tiny little pin nails, so I'm going to try and just lift it up. Well, that was hard. Wow. Of course, now you got to get those little pins out. Sometimes, if things have been fixed poorly in the past, you just have to start over. And this was definitely fixed poorly in the past. I took every single slat apart, and then this was the drawer bottom that was really bad and wavy. And I was going to cut a new board, and then I thought, nope, not going to do that. Now I have to put this all back together with my handy dandy wood glue, which is, of course, not next to me because I'm talking about it right now. As always, I'm going to be using my Tight Bond, the ultimate wood glue, which is super ridiculous strong and also waterproof. And clearly, water has been a problem because it looks like they just like stored soup in these drawers. I don't know how there's so much water damage inside the drawers. and I don't see it outside. I know one thing for certain is I'm going to paper the bottom. I love the peel and stick wallpaper that has the lines on the back because it's just so easy to cut. After a lot of playing around, I got it all back together. I got it squared off. So we're gonna put a big old clamp on it. And we have a drawer.
While the drawers were drying, I filled in all of the rectangle carvings on the front of the piece with joint compound. This is much more cost efficient than getting specific wood fill, especially for something this shallow. And once that was dried, I sanded it back down. Then I removed any of the loose pieces, which this was 3 or 4 different boards all nailed together in a stack. This one was loose, so I removed it, added some wood glue, and then reinforced it with some brad nails. This is the knee hole cover, the decorative piece. Now for my favorite part, the design phase. We're going to bring on the color and the texture. First I unrolled, using my heat gun, some wood you bend trim, and I attached that to the front of the dressers and pulled out some of my scrap pieces of molds. That's going to go on top of that and make that more interesting. And look at all the beautiful things I'm going to put on this.
It was a late night for me. I got home last night so exhausted after a poker game. It was midnight. I was falling asleep driving, but I had just that one little thing to do real quick on here. I spent an hour and a half when I got home continuing to prep, getting more of the finish off of the feet. I did not do that on camera. You're welcome. Also, because I am going to be decoupaging, you need a light color behind your decoupage paper. I'm going to be using this apricot color in the rest of my design, so I decided that was light enough to make the paper pop. These are 2 different papers that look very similar, but they're coordinating versus matching. It's a whimsical paper, and this is, I believe, boho flowers, and it's 1 and 2. This is the one I fell in love with. That is going to go on the outside, and then what's left over is what's going to go on the drawer front. So I could cut this with my scissors, but I think that this is going to give me a better cut. I hope I'm right. Just using my fingernails to get it started, and then bringing the razor blade right in. Now I should have fairly straight and usable panels to put somewhere else. I am using my wallpaper paste that I bought at like Home Depot. I threw some in my handy dandy yogurt cup. And I'm going to use 1 smooth bristle brush to lay down the paste and 1 dry palm brush. This is my Chris Donna Trust the Process brush. And this is what I'm going to use to smooth it out once the glue is underneath.
If you've watched my videos before, you have seen me decoupage, so I'm not going to belabor this, but I am using the method of the dry brush on top versus like the wadded up ball of cellophane or a baggie on my hand. There's lots of different ways to do this without tearing your paper. I like particularly using this method when it's so straight edged like this one was. Next, I mixed up a little quick casting resin, which you can see curing super fast right here. It hardens in 10 minutes. And I'm going to use that on my centerpiece there, which I'm going to design my own floral layout.
All right, slight detour to the emergency room for me. More importantly, I did get this done first. Having kidney stones removed tomorrow, but up until the surgery to remove them has not been pleasant. So, happy Mother's Day to me. I spent several hours in the ER with my daughter, so at least it was still spending time together. I am just gonna slice to separate the drawers. Would you just let go? There. So now I've got my panel glued down.